Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to say hello to everybody as you come into the chat. Please shout out the city that you're from. Also, hit the thumbs up button, put a B1 in the chat to let me know that you're Black first. And today I want to talk about this statue. This is a statue that was put out in honor of the great and legendary Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Shout out to Dr. King. Everybody type Dr. King in the chat. And it was this statue called the Embrace. And let me just tell you, man, I'm going to go ahead and start. I want to ask everybody if you saw this statue, the Embrace, and it was released today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to talk long about it. I just want to kind of get your sense of what you guys think about it. And in fact, I'm going to put it on the screen. And so when I put this thing on the screen, I want you guys to give me your opinion. Then what I'm going to do is reveal some survey results. I surveyed you guys to see how you felt about it. I looked at some of your comments. I listened to intelligent Black people, and I know that's what you are. So I just wanted to kind of see what the community thought. So let me put this thing on the screen, and then in the chat, I want you to describe in 1 or 2 words what your thoughts are. So here is the statue. Let me see if I can find a picture here. Here we go. So this statue is called The Embrace by an artist by Hank Willis Thomas. And give me 1 word to describe, and I'm just going to do a stream of consciousness, a stream of Black consciousness, and literally just read right what I see on the screen. Justin says, I don't get it. Sheer says, it's horrible. Jacqueline says, I would have liked it to include their faces. No Way says, that statue looks obscene and just lame all around. Sheila says, it's despicable. Eric says, garbage. Let's see here. Julius says, King forever, may be satisfied with his mission. Okay, you didn't comment on the statue, man. You ain't doing it right. You ain't doing it right. What's up, James? Eric says disturbing. Black Basil says weird. Jerry says weird. Michael says a waste of $10 million. Brian Smith says love. Okay, well, this statue, the Embrace, is meant to commemorate, I guess, a famous embrace by Dr. King and his beautiful wife, Coretta. Shout out to Black Love. There's a picture of, there's the original Embrace, I guess. I guess that's what they're simulating. And it turned out years later to be this. And that's, I guess, another angle of the statue. I'm going to keep reading your comments because I'm not going to make a comment now because my mama told me a long time ago that boy, you talk too much and your mouth is either going to make you great or get you killed. I'm curious to see which one. So let me just read y'all's comments and I'm just going to be quiet and let's see if y'all can read my mind and wonder what I'm thinking. Let's see here. Gwendolyn says it's terrible. Jay Lilly says stress. Ty Thomas says cover my face. Okay, this says iconic moment. Okay, so that's thank you, Amal. That sounds like you're talking about the moment, not so much the statue. Okay. Shiva says chicken wing. Let's see, Tiffany, it's overall weird. Stacy says confusing. That girl Jill said, Jay Will says hot mess. Okay, show the other angle. I showed the other angle a second ago. Jerry Early says doo doo. All right, doo 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 doo. All right, man, you know what? All right. So first off, let me they say you should start your comments off with the positive. And I'm going to say that, I think Hank Willis Thomas is a good artist. I didn't know this guy before today. So this was good publicity for him. I've seen some of his other work. It's not terrible. It's solid, right? And but I just, what I would want to ask him if I was to meet him, I'd probably ask him, what were you thinking and what did these white people do to you to make you put this kind of stuff out? Because this is not your best work, dog. This is not your best look. I mean, I'm sorry. Again, this is a Dr. Boyce opinion at this point. And I read y'all's words. I was reading raw off the screen. And I even did a survey. And according to the survey, I put a survey on drboycetv.com to see what you guys thought. And the vast majority of you did not like it. The last I checked, 51% of you said that you hate it. Hate, and hate is a heavy word to use on MLK Day. I put hate in there as that 5th option. You have 4 other options above hate, and 51% of y'all, half of y'all, said you hate this statue. And I'm not gonna go as far as saying I hate it because because it's King Day and I'm trying to be nice. But Lord Jesus, man, what the hell, man? I would literally rename this statue. I got an. See, boy, I always get myself in. I got to let it out. If I was to rename this statue, I would rename it, what the fuck is this? Like that's what I would call it. Forget. It was in me. I had to let it out. It's like a burp or something. I can't hold it in. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. This is no disrespect to Hank Willis Thomas. This is more of a reflection of how what I'm feeling. You know, they say art is up to you to interpret it however you want. And we have free expression on this platform, freedom of speech on this platform. So my free expression just instinctually says that a better title for this piece of art should be what the fuck is this? I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it looks like a lot of you don't either. And maybe that just, I mean, that's probably, I think Mark Lamar Hill, Michael Eric Dyson did a video claiming that, we're like a bunch of unsophisticated idiots and that, our free exchange of ideas is somehow dangerous or something because they, controlling black people has been such a powerful industry. But maybe that's what we are. Maybe we're just so unsophisticated we can't get it. Because I'm sure Mark loves it. I'm sure Mark is on the Grio News touting how wonderful the artwork is. Well, here's what you guys said. I asked you directly. I said, "How do you feel about the sculpture, The Embrace, released to commemorate Dr. Martin Luther King and his wife Coretta?" And 5% of you said you love it. And shout out, much respect to the 5% of you. Okay, so I want to make sure your voice is heard and that you are respected. 3% of you said you like it, but you don't love it. 18% of you said you're neutral. 22% of you said you dislike it, but you don't hate it. 52%, over half of you, over half of the intelligent black people on this platform, and we got 1.4 million people that follow these my different YouTube channels. So in this particular one has 340,000. 52% of you said that you hate it. 22% of you said you don't like it. That's 74% of black people said they did not like the statue. So I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that when they were deciding the best way to represent, this iconic love affair between Dr. King and his wife, do you think that they were asking people like us what we think? Do you think that, um, you know, do you think that they asked us? What do y'all think? I really want to know. I mean, do you think that people like us were asked? And this is, I'm making an important point here. I like to make complex points with simple questions. No, the answer is hell no. They didn't ask people like us. You know what they did? They asked like some white liberals from Yale what they think. They asked some Democratic Party, city commissioner. They went to the LGBT black LGBT leadership. No disrespect. Shout out to our friends who are gay and straight and everything in between. This is not a hatred platform, but this is what they do. They went to they probably went to Mark Lamar Hill or something, and and said, "Oh, what do you think would be the best way to depict Dr. King?" And then they came up with this this they came up with this. They would now this one to me almost looks like Dr. King is going like this, like and to me that really, I mean, if you want to describe white liberal elitism in a nutshell, you wouldn't have to say any words. You just show something like this. This is what they do. This is what they do. Your ideas are not interesting. Your ideas are not sophisticated or intelligent. They want to turn you into whatever they want you to turn into, which is another form of white supremacy. That's all that is. Dr. King's legacy has been twisted up, smacked up, flipped, rubbed down, bent over, with Rod shoved up his booty since 1968. They have done everything they can to make Dr. King look at like every kind of weirdo and pansy that they possibly could. And I'm gonna tell you what. Let me just give you. If somebody asks, "Is the artist gay?" You know what? I'm not gonna speculate on that or try to sound like I'm in any way disrespecting what he chooses as his sexuality. There are many strong people in the LGBT community who care deeply about Black issues, so that does not disqualify him. But I do know I read his bio in detail, and I did not see a mention of a wife. That now, what you can make of that, it's up to you. But I did not see a wife. I did not see things with kids and stuff. Now I don't know. But then again, maybe there's more to it. I have no idea. But it wouldn't surprise me because what happens with Blackness in the liberal space is that only certain kinds of Black people are acceptable. If you are a latte sipping liberal at Duke University, then they love you. If you are if you're a person that that believe, that buys into everything that they tell you about Black Lives Matter and making sure you show up and vote for the Democrats that do nothing for you, then they love you. If you're all about their policies on immigration, LGBT rights, and feminism, or an abortion, they love you. But when you are Black in a different kind of capacity, they're not interested in that. And again, this is just another form of white supremacy. The Republicans do it too. We know that the Republicans do it too. And somebody said that I'm tiptoeing a little bit. Yeah, I am tiptoeing because I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean to Hank Willis Thomas and his work. I told you, I looked at some of his other work, and some of it I would buy. I'm not a guy that's going to overspend on art. I'd rather invest in things like real estate. I went to today. I went to there's a brother named Booker T. Washington in Chicago. Literally, that's his real name. I kid you not. His parents were out of Tuskegee. They named his brother George Washington Carver. And me and this conscientious rapper by the name of D1, right after the Generational Wealth Summit hosted by Julian Gordon, we went to visit Booker T's development. He's building homes. He's building these micro homes and building entire developments of micro homes. And this is real brick and mortar stuff that's actually being built, that's actually getting done. It's not some school that you're supposed to donate to for the next 10 years before you see a brick being laid anywhere. This was literally something that's actually real. You can actually almost move in these places. I was truly impressed. I enjoyed talking to the brother. We talked for a long time, and I was firmly convinced, and I'm still convinced, that a segment of the Black community, Black men and women who believe in things like Black wealth, Black men and women who believe in things like Black family, Black men and women who understand the importance of Black independence, that you're going to actually stand out in the next 30 to 40 years. You and your people, your children and grandchildren, are going to be the leaders of the world when it comes to economics and wealth building. I guarantee it. Your kids are going to be acquiring property. Your grandkids are going to be buying stock. Your great grandkids are going to be owning multi-billion, trillion-dollar companies. And so ultimately, there's just a difference in ideology. This is more of a Malcolm X kind of approach. And I believe that as Dr. King got older, as he got to become more mature, remember, Dr. King was a very young man when he died. When Dr. King died, if I'm not mistaken, and let me see, how old was Dr. King when he died? Let me Google it so I don't say it wrong. Hit the thumbs up button if you could do that. Please hit the thumbs up button. Let me see here. How old was MLK when he died? I believe he was 39 years old. 39 years old. Now, how many of y'all are over the age of 39? 39 or older? Give me a yes in the chat if you're over the age of 39. And I asked you that question to make a point. 39 seems old if you're like 29. 39 seems old if you're 24. 39 does not look old when you're 51. When you're 51, 39-year-olds look like children to me, honestly. Not children. I know you ain't kids. You're adults. But still, there's so much you learn between 39 and 51. So why do I make this point? Well, because I believe that when Dr. King was a 39-year-old man, and when he lost his life in that unfortunate incident that took place where the government killed him, that's been proven. The government took his life. That make sure you teach your kids that. I believe Dr. King was turning a corner. Dr. King at 39 was probably turning the same corner that many of you were turning at the age of 39. The same corner I was turning at the age of 39. I was a finance professor at Syracuse University when I was 39. And when I was 39, it was 2010, and I was in my ninth year on the faculty at Syracuse University. And here I was, an expert in finance. And even I, as an expert in economics and finance, was coming to realizations about the racial dynamics of wealth in America that I did not understand before that point. And I was a professor teaching college students. So if I didn't figure certain things out till I was 39 about the fact that integration did not work, then I know Dr. King was figuring stuff out. I know that he was turning certain corners, because if you listen to Dr. King's rhetoric toward the end, Dr. King started realizing that he was integrating into a burning house. If you look at Dr. King right near the end of his life, Dr. King realized that wealth is the key to power in America. Dr. King, toward the end of his life, came to DC and said, I'm coming to pick up my check. We coming to pick up our check because you owe us money. Dr. King got to the point where he stopped saying kumbaya and he started saying, F you, pay me. He said, F you, pay me. You owe me. You owe us. We don't need to be next to you. We need to be next to each other. We don't want your blessing. We want that damn money. We want our money. That's what we want. That's the Dr. King that I love. The Dr. King I love is the Dr. King that never got a chance to live. The Dr. King I think about is the 45, 46-year-old Dr. King who probably would have sounded a little bit like Dr. Boyce Watkins. Not that I am Dr. King. I am not on any level trying to in any way compare myself to him like that. If I did, I apologize. But look, Dr. King, I believe, had he been 45 years old, he probably would have taken the same path, a similar path to the one that I took. Where at about 39, if you remember, if you go back to when I was 39 years old, 2010, go back and look at some of the stuff I was doing in 2010. In 2010, I was doing things that I would never do now. Like I was hanging out with Al Sharpton. I was kind of doing stuff in certain spaces with MSNBC. I was sort of hanging around with the liberals and the Democrats and talking to people in the Obama White House. I started moving away from that in the next decade because I learned that it was all bullshit. No disrespect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I hurt somebody's feelings, but I saw a bunch of BS happening. I saw a bunch of stagnating Negroes that weren't making any progress for the Black community, sitting in high places, sitting perched up, leaning on Black votes and Black money, but wasn't getting nothing done for Black people. I saw this. And I said, this is not it. This is not the solution. I integrated into the integration house. I remember the day Al Sharpton introduced me to the president of MSNBC. And I did not know at that time, I believe I was being vetted. I was being vetted to see if I would be a good person to have in the position that Melissa Harris Perry eventually took. At that time, he hung out with two scholars a lot, me and Melissa Harris Perry. Melissa Harris Perry ended up on MSNBC. Me and Melissa are not the same politically. I went in a different direction. So I believe Dr. King, here's what I'm trying to tell you. I think if you really want to celebrate Dr. King in an appropriate fashion, don't just study who Dr. King was until he died. Study who Dr. King was going to become had he lived. Study that guy. Study the guy that Dr. King was become. Don't study the Dr. King that was safe for America, the Dr. King that they put on all these weird looking statues and all these misrepresentations of his legacy to make him look like he was some sort of powder puff. Study the Dr. King that was starting to get a little bit gangster with some of these liberals that are using Black people to pursue their agenda over your agenda. Study that Dr. King who talked about independent wealth. Study that Dr. King who realized integration was a failed policy. Study that version of Dr. King. If you want to talk about Dr. King to me, talk to me about what Dr. King could have become. Because really, again, I'm 51. He was 39 when he died. The 39-year-old Dr. King would be a student of mine that I would be mentoring to understand where the real power lies in this country. That's my 2 cents. I'm not in it. So let's go to summarize this. And I got a meeting. I actually have a meeting with another Black expert who does real estate, because we're talking about things that are actually going to give Black people power. Land ownership gives you power, not voting rights. Voting rights help the Democratic Party. I'm not saying voting rights aren't important. I'm not saying that you should not vote. I will never tell you not to vote. I'm just telling you that you vote in every election, but your wealth keeps going down. So voting rights have been proven to not give you any wealth. However, Joe Biden and his family have gotten mighty rich, and he's able to even keep his crackhead son out of prison. So voting rights for you are extremely beneficial to them. So keep on doing what you're doing if that makes you feel better. But just, I need you to ask yourself, hold yourself accountable and say, is what I'm doing really getting the results that I'm looking for? And if the answer is no, that means you need to change your strategy. So that's it, guys. I don't have anything else to say. No disrespect. This artist, Hank Willis Thomas, he is a good artist. I believe that they took a great artist and made him put out a piece of work that does not strengthen his legacy in the Black community. I'm going to go ahead and say most of the people on Instagram, I asked hundreds of thousands of you. I have almost 400,000 followers on Instagram. I had to search high and low to find one good comment about this thing. And I talked to my wife, very smart Black lady, full professor of social work. She's in social work, so if anybody's close to socialism, it might be my wife. She at least understands it, and she looked at it, and we both just kind of looked at each other and said, "This looks like doo-doo on a stick. This is not representative of the work of Hank Willis Thomas. This is not representative of Dr. King. This is representative of the white liberal power structure taking a talented Black man and watering him down and embarrassing him in front of the damn world. You should be upset that they made you put this thing out, because this thing ain't cool. I've seen your other work, brother. It's much better than this. I don't understand what this is." That's my 2 cents, guys. I'm out of here. My meeting is starting now, and I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but y'all know me. I owe y'all the truth, and that's what I got to share. So, by the way, don't forget, I got a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you'd like to get a copy, you can go to boycewatkins.com. I'm going to do a book tour this spring. So feel free to go to my go to my website if you'd like to check that out. Also, we have financial workbooks for Black children. If you want your children trained at the highest levels when it comes to wealth and economics, feel free to go to financialworkbooks.com. We cover every grade band that there is, and we want your kids to get ahead, because I don't care so much about what happens politically in America, because the politics is driven by the money. Black people must understand the money, and then you will see yourself getting the power. So go out here and own something. That's how you get ahead. So God bless you guys. Have a good night. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Love you. I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.